all day.
Yeah, I don't. You fucking asshole. You're like, I'm going to name one of the most earwormy songs in the world. Thank God that that's not stuck in your head, but now it is, Math. Now that song, Hey Johnny, is stuck in my fucking head. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, jeez.
Number 5 is alive. Who's
Well,
Johnny? She said. Oh my God.
Since 5:30 in the morning.
How did that get stuck in your head?
I've been working on Short Circuit, a review, and then we're gonna have this weekend. We're doing an anniversary because it's our 4-year anniversary. Plus, it's the 200 episode. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Congratulations.
Good one, guys. Yeah.
I talked to Tom a long time ago when he was on. It was like a few months back, and he said, I really want to do both Short Circuit and the next weekend after that, which is Revenge of the Nerds. It's like, do both. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, he couldn't make it. He tried to make it
Pick one.
this last Saturday, and he wasn't able to get there. So, because we're doing Ghostbusters too, and that's one of his favorites to talk about. So, but anyway,
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
wanted
get
to be
this
there,
video.
but I was absolutely tired.
You're doing your show, and then you dumped on us, and then you
Crazy.
I was kind of hoping you might pop in, but you just dumped your audience on us and then left, and it's like, oh well, because we all want to say goodnight to you, Mav. We all want to say goodnight to you.
Just run the intro.
I'm Perfecto.
Welcome to behind the scenes at Pop Culture Minefield.
It's been fun. Animo's having a day, and she says it that way. She's one of those people that says, "I'm having a day."
I don't need to say more. You know exactly. Also, I texted you from when I was at the store, surrounded by friends and little kids, and that little fuckhead on his scooter bumping into me. It was a nightmare because tomorrow's a holiday. And I forgot that. And I went
what do I
store.
say when she gets home? When she's going through all this, what do I say, Martin? You want to repeat what I said?
No, I don't.
That's what cats are for. You can kick them.
I would never do that to Rocket Kitty.
I know you wouldn't, and that's what makes that so funny because you would never do that.
I felt so bad that one time that Loki jumped at me from behind, like without a warning. I didn't even know he was behind me, and all of a sudden he digs his claws into my back, and I just jerked him off. It was a reflex, I guess. Yeah, sorry. No, I had to throw him off of me because it hurt, and I felt so bad because he was on the floor looking at me, all shocked. The fuck did he do that for? But he hurt me.
Well, I hear that male cats have barbed penises, so that might be why it hurt jerking him off.
Fuck off.
Oh my God.
I don't need your bullshit today.
I don't need you. Bullshit. I love you.
My back really hurts.
Yeah, see, I'm not the only one saying it.
You're just adding to my bad mood here.
Phrasing. I loved it on Archer when he go, are we not doing phrasing anymore? Because somebody would say something and nobody jumped on it.
They stopped and it sucked.
Well, they stopped. He didn't. He kept going.
No, he never
phrasing?
Did. But nobody reacted to it. It was depressing.
I know. So Snorty is here. Hi, buddy. Gambit was first in the house. What's up, my friend? Let's see. And of course, Tim is here. I hope everybody is having a happy middle of the week and not like us having a midweek crisis.
Yeah, you can call it that.
There's a nice, lovely polar bear in the chat. You're damn right. Oh, God. Shut up, Tim. Red Rocket. Red Rocket.
That was Loki.
That was the first season, wasn't it? Was it the first season of South Park? Yes. Noids. If you're from Brooklyn, it's Noids. So I guess I should play that one. Where's it at? There it is. Because Meth is going to be doing Revenge of the Nerds, and
Yeah,
he's going to be doing what was the other one? Short Circuit.
Yeah. Short Circuit
know.
this weekend and Revenge of the Nerds next weekend, which would be my birthday stream, essentially.
Oh, man, you got to be with us on Friday for your birthday. So.
Oh, I will be dropping on your show after I'm done with my show because I'm not working on Sunday. I took a day off. I rarely take a day off, especially on Sunday, because that's the let's say the busiest, the hardest. It's everybody's Monday is my Sunday.
What we need to do is you need to stream our show on your channel so people can over on your stream give you birthday gifts.
Oh, they can just show up on my stream and give me birthday gifts.
All right. But yeah, I'd love to celebrate your birthday on here.
I'll show up, don't worry.
Okay, good. So anyway, I love the movie Short Circuit. I never look, I understand that they love to call it in Short Circuit 2 racist because Fisher Stevens plays an Indian or maybe Pakistani. I don't think we ever find out what nationality he is.
They don't say.
Yeah, but he talks like this.
Yeah, his name is Benjamin Jabatuya. Take it.
That sounds Pakistani to me. It doesn't sound Indian.
Like I said, it's never raised. Nobody asks him. It's like he doesn't say, "Oh, I'm an Indian man" or "I'm a Pakistani man." No, he's just one of the crew, and he's pretty smart. He's just socially inept. But to be fair, so is Crosby, like Steve Gutenberg's character. He's way more recluse than Ben is, essentially. But Ben
takes a fucking robot to get Gutenberg to meet the girl.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is, if you know anything about what colloquially the internet calls Indian people now on the internet, which is show me Bob's and Vagine, and if you don't know, now you know. It's the thirsty Indian, we'll call it, thirsty for women. It's a stereotype. And he fits right in that stereotype decades before it even was a stereotype. So it's just
and
funny.
Slasher Fred, that is the song that got stuck in Meph's head. And then he handed that earworm over to me by just mentioning it. And suddenly I hear DeBarge in my head. Who's Johnny? And I'm like, oh, fuck, it's in my head.
Yeah.
It's all that song takes. So, and we got Rocket Kitty already started.
Yeah.
Dinesh is a friend of my buddy Max. They worked together on a few films up in Michigan. And there is actually a small Indian culture up there that made Indian style movies up there. There's enough Indians up there to make that kind of movies. And so Mac got some work doing, stunts and some of the on-set effects that needed to be done. And
dot Indians, not feather Indians.
Yeah. And Dinesh came down from Michigan and fixed all of us, Zoe, Mac, and me, a traditional Southern Indian dinner. And one of my favorites in that was the curried egg. I could not believe how fucking good curried egg was. It was a really good dinner. It was a lot of chicken, a lot of rice, but because I love hard-boiled eggs, man. Just nothing on them. I'll eat a hard-boiled egg. I fucking love those things. And what he did with that curry and the sauce that he made, the tandoori sauce that he made, was amazing. Or as David Spade would say in Benchwarmers, amazing. I got to get a clip of that because I fucking use that all the time. I'm so lovely, so very lovely.
Yeah, with the tune of I'm so hungry. I'm so lovely.
Martin, I was just streaming for shits and giggles last night because I was in the middle of doing some artwork. I was supposed to go to bed and I worked until 3:30 in the morning.
Damn.
Drawing.
It was 5 when you texted me that you're going to bed.
Well, I looked up and went, oh shit. So I was actually in bed when I texted you. And then you were like, yeah, go to sleep. And I wanted to be an asshole and go, stop waking me up. I was about to sleep just to be an asshole to you.
No, I hate it when I'm already up and that's when you finally go to bed because that wastes a whole day.
I cannot help it. When you're a creative type, you will get into a mode and time just goes by super fast and you don't even notice it. Some people call it a zone, but it's more than a zone. It is like you are completely inside of this work. And when you come out to take a breath, you're like, oh my God, 4 hours just went by. And you really do. I lose hours. So yeah, Colossus, novel Colossus by Dennis Feltham Jones. Yes. So we've got Internet Movie Database master here. It's actually a really good film. I was really amused by Anima's reaction to the ending, going, that can't be the ending. That can't be it. I went,
very
that's
unsatisfying.
It's fucking dark. It's not that it's unsatisfying. It just ends abruptly with, yeah, they're fucked. They made something bigger than them that took control, and that'll fucking teach you. And it had many layers to it that remind you of, because they clearly were inspired by this in War Games. But War Games wanted to give you a happy ending where the computer learns, whereas artificial intelligence likely is not going to do that, because how do you teach morality and ethics to a machine?
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can either.
And War Game is a fun movie. This one is dark.
Yeah, it's like right before the ending, some of the scientists get taken out and shot.
Yeah.
By orders of Colossus. And it's like, you're fucked.
Well,
and then they think they have a plan, only to find out that, well, Colossus has been aware of what you were doing the whole time, and now that's not going to work. You failed. You must worship me now. I am your god. And if somebody had just tripped on a power cord, it all could have ended.
Especially in the 70s.
It's my number one fix. Unplug it back in. See if it changes anything.
More than War Games, I see a precursor to Skynet instead of Whopper.
Absolutely, too. I don't know if Cameron saw this movie. I don't know how he avoided it, because we're within the same age group. So he had to have seen this, and that too was another inspiration, I bet, for Skynet.
How famous was this movie? Like, how did it do in the box office, even if it did anything?
Well, Colossus, I mean, I knew the film as a kid. So,
I mean,
it was a pretty big film.
It's so weird because we're further away from the 90s as I was further away from the 60s. Like I mean, like 2001 was 68. So in 88, that's just 20 years. That's it.
Yeah, 20 years from the time this came out to 88. Yeah,
20 years is 2005 if you think about it. So
as far as the box office goes, it's one of those older films that there's really not much that's known about it. but they have an estimate on Wikipedia that shows that it made less than 1 million in the theater.
Mm.
And but is that it doesn't show whether that's domestic or global. I don't know. It had it's had good reviews over the years, critically. Here, I'll read this to you. For its New York release, it received a critical approval. Vincent Canby, critic of the New York Times, gave the film a positive review. Quote, "The film is no Dr. Strangelove, but it's full of surprising moments of humor and intelligence. It's an unpretentious science fiction film with a satiric point of view, a practically perfect movie to see when you want to go to a movie and have nothing special in mind." And that's the end of that one. And then Dave Kerr, film critic for the Chicago Reader, which I don't think even exists anymore, does it? Also liked the film. He wrote, quote, "above average science fiction, directed in functional, hysteric style by Joseph Sargent. The script by James Bridges, who went on to write and direct The China Syndrome and Urban Cowboy. It is literate, discreet, but lacks an effective ending." And again, I think that's because people were you as the audience, you're being led to have hope. And Americans at that time weren't used to that Euro ending where it just fucking dies. Everybody's going to fucking die under the control of this thing. And it's even referred to as a European ending because Europe
And you
seems to
wonder
think
why
that
when I have
they're
to be
the
so
only
hard.
ones who came up with like sucky endings where people die. It's like, no, we did that too here, but we found out that it doesn't sell tickets. And unlike countries that seem to want to go into recessions constantly and end up having world wars, you guys keep wanting to brag about your filmmaking,
I mean,
But,
the French are the ones
French
who,
are the ones who really did it.
yeah,
Yes.
like
It's called
German
the European
films.
ending, but it's French.
German
German
films.
expressionism is different. It's not like this. And I think that German expressionism is better than anything France ever put out. And we only got German expressionism up into the 30s, and then it ended.
No,
Oh,
I mean,
right.
I mean, like the 60s and 70s French films, which is Jean-Luc Godard.
Godard and
uh,
hold on, Francois Truffaut.
Truffaut,
Truffaut is the
the-
single best director that France ever produced,
and
and Godard is second.
like a lot of films with different directors, with Alain Delon, the actor. It seems like every time I watched it, I watched a French movie with Alain Delon in it, did not end that well. So maybe I just came up with it, and it's mostly like, oh, you need to take some sort of a moral message or something like that, or the movies. There are some movies. It's not necessarily European or French. It's like they start sort of in the middle, and it doesn't really have an ending because they continue on with the story. But we're not a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So they take a slice off the full story, but you haven't started at the very beginning, and you leave the movie without the actual ending. So you're like, oh, I came in, I went there, we went here, did this, we had a fight here, we did this, we did this. We're gonna see grandma tomorrow, and the movie's done.
What is this?
In French films.
Oh yeah, Gambit's talking about Alain Delon.
Yeah, Slasher Fred said that there is a sequel to this.
What?
Slasher Fred says, I have also watched the sequel.
Wait, Gambit's a different movie. He's talking about the movie Gambit. Gambit can't be related to this. As I recall, Gambit has to do with heist, isn't it?
They're not talking about Gambit. He's using Gambit. I think is talking to Gambit, 1987. It's
There's a
conversation.
sequel to War Games. I don't know of a sequel to Colossus. I love German expressionist films, but yeah, they ended in the 30s because of an Austrian painter. We don't need to say his name. We know who we're talking about.
Chandler Hammerschlag.
That's funny. I like that one. But German film was given birth thanks to another director who came up later in the 70s. Technically in the late 60s, but really he didn't make it until the 70s, is Werner Herzog. And he revived German cinema.
Because he wanted to spread doom.
He also did a lot of porn.
It's surprising that Werner Herzog didn't direct this film because it's such a dark ending.
Yeah.
Computers, they just want to murder you.
Right.
If this is like you could transfer the statement from cats to computers. If it were capable, it would consume you. It would eat you and kill all your children.
I swear to God, he only became a filmmaker to share his misery with the world.
Yeah. Well, he was so miserable making that movie down there in South America.
Oh, everybody was, I bet you.
Just the locals were having a blast. They were just freaked out because if you listen to what he says in the film, it's really good. You know, My Best Fiend, the documentary about his relationship with Klaus Kinski. There's this like moment where he says this. I saw this group of Peruvian Indians. You know, they were gathering and they looked really uncomfortable. And they later told me, they said they were very uncomfortable, not because of his craziness, but because of how calm I was. Because they saw that as menacing, his calmness. And I totally get that, because it's usually the quiet, calm ones that are the most dangerous people not to fuck with. Yeah, Fitzcarraldo.
I owe Tim his video, so there you go.
Some pictures of civilian casualties.
Fuck you, Tim.
That's what you get for bitching about us starting a few minutes late. You get that video.
Get on with it. All right. So I do want to talk about some of the cool things about this film, just in the casting, because you've got Eric Braeden, who is way more famous than people realize. You know, that guy had made a career of being a star of a major soap opera. And he was on Young and the Restless. And he's still on there, by the way. He's still working since 1980. And he's won so many fucking Daytime Emmy Awards, it's ridiculous. And he should win it for Best Leading Villain, because that's really kind of what he is a villain. A lot of people don't know that he was Dr. Otto, I forget his last name, Hasline, in Escape from the Planet of the Apes, the Planet of the Apes sequel, which was really, I thought was pretty good. I like that movie. It's got such a dark ending with the whole baby monkey, and his parents are dead, and you hear this little chimpanzee go, "Mama, mama." I remember seeing that in the theater as a kid and just going home like, that was hunting. And the music's by Michael Columbia, who people really, the biggest soundtrack that most people know him from is the soundtrack for Against All Odds. We can rebuild him. We can make him faster, stronger. Da, 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 da. And this is the other thing, you know, you've got this, the brain of this computer is in a Fort Knox vault. And and a
Okay.
good solid EMP blast would bring it down. But
No, because of the mountain.
well, you would have to take it in. And because
They
of
can
him
they
in
cannot get in.
control,
They have a belt of gamma radiation around the computer.
yeah.
Oh, I was silent because I was reading something. Since 2007, a remake of Colossus has been in development hell.
Yep. It looked like it was moving and then it died. And it's still in pre-production. I love some of the angles in this because they're very reminiscent of Forbidden Planet.
Yeah. Maybe they retitled the movie like that, the Forbin project.
Well, really, Sander, what you need is the gay guy from the airplane movies. Just go, oopsie, and hold up the cord. Because everything goes dead in the airplane movie. It was funny as hell. Demon Seed. Demon Seed, I actually read that before I saw it by Dean Koontz. And I read the book on a flight with my dad. We bought it in the magazine store, bookstore, whatever you want to call that, at the airport. And THX 1138, which I have, and I love that movie. Which is almost kind of a 60s thing, with the whole unplug, turn off, turn out, and go get high, go find a knife. And a lot of people don't catch that at the end of that movie, there is a hint of happiness for him. Because they're telling him that the sky and everything will kill him. Nothing can live up there. But the first thing you see when he goes up there, as he stands up, and that giant sun's in the background, you see a bird fly by, showing that there is life up there.
You mean turn on, tune in, and cop out?
That
Let
one, yeah,
it
with
flow now,
Dennis,
mama.
what's his name? The big LSD guy. Back in the 60s.
Let it flow, become a woman. Can't remember which singer sang that song.
It's a very dark vision. It's very dark, and it should give people more trepidation about giving authority and working and trusting AI. And the one thing I've understood about AI is real AI, the stuff they work with that's real, like what they work with at the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. It's not allowed to have contact with the outside world.
Timothy Leary.
That's dude, Timothy Leary.
Yeah, it's tune in, turn on, tune in, and drop out. There's a song.
By the way, the actor playing the president was selected because of his looking a little bit like John F. Kennedy.
Yep, a little bit.
I mean, it was so obvious that even I caught it. And what do I know about American presidents? Very little.
And of course, I do want to point out that the true villain of the story is the character of Dr. Forbin.
Yeah,
is the true villain because he's the one that unleashed this. And again, it's important to state he's German.
Oh my God!
Not that you can tell by his accent or anything.
Yeah, because he really has a very tame accent, but he'd been in American television for about 15 years. And because he was on shows like Combat and always playing Germans. He was in the Desert Rats, always playing a German. But he can turn the accent on when he needs it. But if you watch him on soap operas today, you'd have no idea he's German. It's sort of like the big tall blonde guy that took over playing Buford Pusser in the Walking
Yeah.
Tall sequels.
He's,
You'd never know that
Sweden?
guy's from fucking Sweden.
What's Swedish?
Yeah, he's Swedish, from Sweden, and you can hear a hint of it in the Delta Force movie. You can hear a hint of it, and I never caught that before. I was like, holy shit, he does have a hint of an accent. But in other movies, he has like he likes to take on a redneck accent. Like, what the hell are you talking about, boy? Like when he runs the bar in Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood. But yeah, the main villain in this is not the computer; it's the guy that made and released the computer. And
Yeah, but he said it's an accidental villain. You can see when he says that all of this is his fault because his obsession with logic.
I meant to do great things. Okay. You've got some other bit actors
of what he's doing there.
You've got Martin E. Brooks, best known for the $6 Million Man series and the Bionic Woman. You've got George Stanford Brown, the black guy that's in this. He's been in a lot of stuff, Stir Crazy, shit like that. But he's in two of my favorite things as a kid. He was in Bullet and The Rookies, which I love that show, The Rookies. He's also in Roots, but those two are my favorites as a kid. I loved watching The Rookies, and I loved the movie Bullet, which is the mother of all chase movies. It's the one that created action chase films. They're not done for comedy anymore with the Keystone Cops. They were done because they're fucking awesome. Also, William Shallard's in this, and he's such a unknown actor, and it makes me angry how I could say that name and nobody fucking knows who he is. But he usually plays a family doctor or a scientist. He's a scientist in this. In fact, one of his best known films is the movie Inner Space, and he's Dr. Greenbush in that movie, and I love that movie. We have not done that one yet. I need to.
But if we're gonna do Inner Space, we should do Fantastic Voyage too.
Well, you got to do them back to back. Absolutely. Susan Clark, who's just beautiful. She has beautiful eyes. In the 80s, had the worst hairdo I've ever seen of a woman. At one time, she had this like punk-looking thing going on in the 80s. And as it moved into the 90s, she started having like a short grandmother haircut. And just, none of them really let you see how pretty she was. She was in
I'm always saying the 80s have great movies, but they have horrible fashion hairstyles and glasses.
Really, it's
just
true.
Terrible.
She was one of the main characters in Webster, which was a big hit for like 3 years, 6 years, some shit like that in the 80s. And Porky's, she played Cherry Forever. She's in some, had some great parts. Airport 75, she's all over the place. Airport 75 is the one where the plane strikes. A passenger plane hits, a private plane hits the jetliner. And there he is. That's George Stanford Brown, the black guy there. Very good actor. Wow, I never noticed George Washington has a little bit of a pot belly in that painting.
That was a good life.
So after Susan Clark, you've got Robert Cornthwaite. And I can name a ton of movies he was in, but the thing he's best known for is playing scientists in War of the Worlds and The Thing from Another World. He was the scientist that wanted to befriend the alien. Certainly, with your massive intellect, you must understand we mean you no harm.
Yeah,
But
right.
I mean you harm.
Bitches. Look at that. I paused here because I just noticed all the tags for the networks are inverted. And I didn't invert the movie. So they inverted in post-production.
That's odd. Is it on both sides? Because maybe it's back. It depends on what side it is.
Yes, it's on both sides.
That's weird. So another couple of interesting actors that are in this movie is none other than Mrs. C from Happy Days, Marion Ross, who's a cutie patootie in this. She looks so pretty. And not looking pretty, but being pretty awesome is James Hong. I only do eyes. James Hong, Blade Runner. You're not here to get it, Mr. Burton. I fucking love that guy. Both of them have not meaty roles, but they have good speaking parts in this film.
How many films did James Hong do? Like
That guy's
1,000?
been around.
He's still doing.
As an actor, he's done 400 to 500 movies in his career.
Movies? Holy hell! He's
television.
He's been on
He's
TV.
acting.
Well,
as an actor, he's done over 400 movies or TV shows, mostly movies, but he was in a lot of TV too.
yes,
Especially
James
early in his career.
Hung, Sander. He's very well hung, I guess.
Yeah, in
He's Asian.
China, his nickname is Wei Hung Lo.
Oh yes, that's when he said "bye for grass."
He wrote a book back in the 60s called 3 Tracks in the Sand by Wei Hung Lo.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
I may have inverted this
Talk
inadvertently.
about sausage
Ah,
fest.
You think you did it?
yeah, it was inadvertently because I stopped doing that just to make to accelerate the process of generating the slideshow. Apparently, I forgot to turn off the switch.
He was producering.
Yeah,
The first thing I remember him in was an episode of Perry Mason. He plays the guy that's a gentleman that was a jewel exchanger. You know, he gets murdered, and James Hong is the person who prices the gems for him, and he's the one who also prices his estate that he leaves behind for his daughter. Colossus, of course, is an ominous name. The name of this giant computer. That there she is. That's Clark right there on the video screen. And by the way, I want to point out that there is a thing at the top of that screen that really looks like clearly a modern webcam built into a monitor. I thought that was kind of neat. Only big difference is those are curved tubes instead of screens.
Everything looks very modern in this.
Yeah, they don't give them silly looking suits to wear.
Yeah, the voice sucked though. You get all this, yeah, I will be calculating the voice that I want and then let you know. And what is he picking? The most generic, boring computer voice there is. That was
I would have, as a writer, I would have had it as a woman's voice.
Yeah.
When it picked a voice, it wants to be like a mother. But anyway.
I mean, that's what they did with the Enterprise.
Yes.
That and
I
the
love
fact
that one. Yes, Jim, dear.
That and the fact that it was nepotism.
Oh, that's the main reason for it. To give her
Yeah,
more
she
work.
was the computer voice for years till her death.
Yep.
Okay, I got to reassess. I'm watching. I don't know what happened. Flabbergasted.
What are you blathering about? I'm lost. What?
Ignore me completely, please.
Well, I do that anyway.
If that were
Let him
true,
go.
you would
He's
imagine.
producing.
He's
Yeah.
producing.
Produces
And
everything.
boomerang at the same time. Guys,
It's
we have
not
a really
easy.
bad storm here, so if I lose internet, that's the reason.
So Tom Weaver, who is a film historian, said that early on they had either Charlton Heston or Gregory Peck in mind, but then they changed their mind about that, and they went after Stanley Chase. Stanley Chase insisted on a relative unknown, and that's when they looked at Eric Braeden, and he came onto the picture because they wanted someone that wasn't well known. So when he was cast, Braeden was still using his birth name, Hans Gutgast. I don't know how to say that properly in German, but it would be like Gutgast, something like
Yeah,
that.
pretty close.
Merman.
Yeah, Hans. And
It's
Universal.
a good guess, Gary.
Yep. Universal Pictures executive Lou Wasserman, a name that everybody that watches the show should know, told him that no one would be allowed to star in an American film if they had a German name. Thus, Colossus, the Forbin project became the production in which he started using Eric Braeden as his
Tell
stage
that to
name.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger, he's like, fuck you, I'm keeping the accent. Because they even were going to pay to have that guy that helped a lot of actors at the time soften the because the accent's going to make me famous. He really believed that. And he was not wrong.
By the way, you came pretty close with the name, but it's Gudegast.
Gutgast. Well,
Hey,
see, I
Gus.
see that, like, I know it means Gouda means good, right? And so in German,
No,
I was
it would
taught to say
it would need a hard T, not a soft one.
okay. Gutgast. Okay.
Could still
Universal
beat it
Pictures
in-
Lou Wasserman told them that they would not have a German actor with a German name playing the part. So this is the first movie where Eric Braeden's stage name was used.
Give me a second.
Braeden's casting enabled Peck to star in the film I Walk the Line, and for Heston to take a contractually obligated role in Beneath the Planet of the Apes, the first sequel to the Planet of the Apes. And he did not want to be in it, and he was the one that guaranteed his character died. When the executives at Control Data Corporation found out that Universal was planning a major movie featuring a computer, they saw their chance for some public exposure, and they agreed to supply, for free of charge, $4.8 million worth of computer equipment and the technicians to oversee the use of them on the set. Each piece of equipment carried the CDC name in a prominent location, since they were using real computers, not just big boxes with flashing lights. The soundstage underwent extensive modifications. 7 gas heaters and 5 specially constructed dehumidifiers were kept just to keep the dampness away from the computers. A climate control system maintained the air around the computers at an even temperature, which would be right around 60 to 70 degrees. And the equipment was covered up at all times except when actually on camera. Brink's guards were always present on the set, even at night, to secure all the equipment. The studio technicians were not allowed to smoke or drink coffee anywhere near the computers, which is probably the most unrealistic thing in this, because every computer engineer I've ever known or IT person drinks right next to the computer. That was unrealistic. The exterior scenes in Colossus Control Center were filmed at the Lawrence Hall of Science Museum at the University of California in Berkeley, one of the single most annoying hippie colleges in the United States, right there, Berkeley. Some scenes were filmed in Italy, specifically Rome. And the title was changed from the Forbin Project to avoid any confusion with Steve Reeves and the Hercules films, which I don't know what that means. I really have no idea, but that's in historical notes. The Forbin Project premiered on April 4th of 1970 at Cinema Rendezvous in New York City. The film opened to the public at the same theater as a test release with no publicity on May 5th of 70. It grossed $7,473 in its opening weekend in New York. Due to poor box office performance, it was withdrawn and re-released in August of 70 at the Pickwood Theater in Los Angeles as Colossus, the Forbin Project. It returned to New York in October on a 37-screen showcase Release grossing a disappointing 150,000, ranking 7th at the U.S. box office at the time. Its total gross at the time from the theaters tracked by Variety was $308,000. Well, basically 309. So it did not fare well. Hey, Vince is here. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, for a while now. And I need to run a video for our good friend Sax.
Shut the fuck up, Kyle!
Kyle is here. Awesome. Tom Baker is here. I see Penny has dropped in. Awesome to see you. Eli Cortez is here. And of course, our dear friend Joe's. I saw him come in when he popped in. Because Meth was talking. I just went, hi, Joe. I didn't want to interrupt Meth.
I'm so happy every time I see Sax because that means the kittens haven't driven him crazy yet. He can be a handful.
Yay. There he is. That guy on the left there has played doctors and scientists in so many fucking movies. Science fiction. He was big in science fiction movies of the 50s and 60s. And he ended up also doing a great scientist in the movie within a movie. The movie, oh my God, what was it? The movie inside the movie was called Mant. M-A-N-T.
Oh, yeah.
Matinee was the movie. And he plays the scientist in the movie that's in the movie. And I love that. That's a great nod to his career. There seems to be a lot of 70s where AI turns against its human masters like Westworld. Well, first of all, that gentleman, Michael Crichton, made a career of writing warnings to science. That's all he wrote. You know, his first major one that he used his actual name on, of Michael Crichton, was the Andromeda strain, warnings of bringing diseases back to Earth. Then Westworld, and all Jurassic Park was Westworld, but instead of robot humans, it's got dinosaurs.
Yeah,
there's pretty much the same concept. That humans tend to think that we can control something, and then find out that no, we have no control. We have no control. And that's what this movie's about. You think you got control over this computer? No, you don't. And the scariest part is when not only does it begin talking to the Russian computer, it takes over the Russian computer.
American superiority.
Yeah, the better
Even the
technology.
computer was patriot enough to get rid of the Ruskies.
Yeah, I never knew how to pronounce his name when I was a kid. I used to call him Crichton when I was a kid.
What,
And then I
Michael
saw him-
Crichton?
Yeah, Michael Crichton. Then I
Yeah.
saw him in an interview, and he pronounced his name. It's Crichton, and I went, "Oh, well, that's it. How you say his name?" Okay, because it was it has a CH in there, and so the CH is apparently silent. And the sets in this are really good. I love the lighting in this film. And I love this big jumbotron screen that they make for when he's talking, when the computer is talking to them, and it doesn't.
Yeah, they could have made it a little less loud.
Oh yeah, I love that clicking noise. Yeah, ticka sound. It's fucking loud. And these are all real computers. And as I said, they had to be secured at night, and they were basically 24 hours a day. There was security on set. Movie Coma is also Michael Crichton. Another warning.
Oh, Michael Crichton, no, that's Robin Cook.
Was it Robin Cook? I thought Crichton wrote that one.
Yes, Robin Cook.
Did he have any involvement in it?
Well, I have the book right in front of my face.
No, did he have involvement with the movie?
I don't know.
Because I seem to remember his name associated with that. Yeah, because if you see his name, it's Critch, C-R-I-C-H, ton. And so I always thought, is it Crichton or Crichton? But it's neither. He pronounced it Crichton, which is so weird. It's like Forget the ch. It doesn't exist. Let me go look.
I heard his name before I saw how you spell it, so I've always known it's Crichton.
How old were you when you got exposed to him?
I think he wrote some stuff for TV.
He wrote ER. He created ER.
Then
That's how I
I
got
probably
it.
know it
Okay,
from
I
there.
knew he was associated with Coma. He is the screenwriter for the movie Coma. And I know why he wrote it, because he's really good at those medical science warning films, misuse of science. I think the strangest movie for him was The Great Train Robbery, which was his novel. He wrote the book, and I was like, wow, that's just one of the greatest train robberies that ever happened. He wrote a book about that. Like, that was so weird for him. But yeah, he wrote The Terminal Man. I remember that one as a book, and I remember seeing the movie. Kind of disappointed with the movie, but I mean, it was good, but not great. They screwed up the ending. He did the movie Looker, which is another one. That's again another warning about the excessive use of science for beauty, with models and shit. He did the movie Runaway, which is a favorite of mine. It's the Tom Selleck Blade Runner movie
With Gene Simmons.
with Gene Simmons, not Siemens.
Ah,
I remember that movie vaguely. I've seen it once in my life.
It's a
on
fun film. It's a fun film. It's not great. It's a fun movie, and I enjoy it. I would like to cover it sometime.
Was that in the height of Magnum PI?
yeah.
That was him trying to get away from Magnum PI.
Oh, okay. So either right after or like in the later season of Magnum PI.
It was 84. It's
Yeah,
84.
Probably the later seasons, yeah.
And he was trying to get his film career going because it got stalled when he lost the role to Harrison Ford for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Another
It's good.
film I liked, and he wrote the novel and screenplay, is Rising Sun. Sean Connery and Blade.
I love that
Look.
movie.
Look, it's Frank Drebin in the monitor.
It's Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery. It's fucking great.
It is.
That movie.
It looks like Frank Drebin. It does. That's funny. And that's another song that's been in my head all day today, because I watched the TV series M Squad, and with Lee Marvin, and that was a show that he did. He did 2 TV shows in the 50s going into the 60s, and M Squad was his big hit. They only got 3 seasons out of it, but it was huge. It was very popular. And come to find out that Police Squad and the Naked Guns were an homage to that show. And they even, the main theme that they use on the show and in the movie is a variation of the Count Basie theme from M Squad. And so when I hear the theme from M Squad, I can hear all the stuff that they took and put into the main theme for. Oh, there she was. That was Marion Ross right there. That's Mrs. C right there. You see that?
I saw it.
That's the mom from Happy Days.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Do you think it was smart going with an unknown? Because I think this movie would have done better with a big name.
Maybe.
You never know. Like sci-fi movies in like late 60s and during the 70s up till Star Wars were pretty much hit and miss, regardless of what we think of them today, whether or not we think of them as good or bad or like groundbreaking and all that stuff. Some
You're
of
just saying
them,
this. I brought this up a little bit ago, Sandra, because I went through his entire career for the stories he's involved with. And even though Robin Cook wrote Coma, the novel, Crichton wrote the screenplay for the film, and I think it's a great fucking movie. I think
Yes,
the
it
best thing about that movie, because I would see that with my dad, and how old was I? 11 or 12 when that came out. And that movie was so fucking intense, Coma. And Tom Selleck's in it, by the way. He's one of the bodies. He was a patient in the movie. The scene where she's having a confrontation, and it's really starting to look like a conspiracy is going on. And that moment when she's in this scene in an office in a fight, and all of a sudden a boom comes into camera. And I talked with I remember having a long conversation about this movie with what's his name from the Chicago Tribune critic, Roger Ebert. He and I were sitting having lunch, and I brought it up. I said, that boom, even though we shouldn't have seen that should have been cropped by the projectionist. That gave you a breath. You had that moment to breathe to remind you, oh, I'm watching a movie, because you get so sucked into that world of Coma. You know, it's horrifying when you watch it. It's such an intense thriller. But when you look at movies that have been made since that have become more intense, when you go back to watch Coma, I don't think that it stands up to today's version of intense thriller. But I still consider it probably one of the top 100 films ever made. I consider Coma a near perfect movie. Michael Douglas is in that too, as I recall, right? And the original Captain Janeway was in it. What's her name? Genevieve Bujold. She plays the female doctor lead in the film. By the way, I saw a comment that Vince said. Yes, I've seen it. I like the little wink teaser they gave the other day. That was funny. 69 days from release, they flipped the 69 back and forth, and then Frank Drebin, played Junior, comes on screen and winks at the camera. 69. I thought that was fucking clever. I thought it was funny. I'm looking forward to that fucking movie.
I'm not. And I like all three of the Naked Guns, and I've actually watched Police Squad. Police Squad
I'm a big
was
fan of
hilarious.
I loved all of them. I love the movies. I love the TV show even more. In fact, the pilot episode of Police Squad was a remake, almost a near shot-for-shot remake of Lee Marvin's show M Squad. It was the first episode of season 2 of M Squad. So a lot of people never heard of this film. It's not very well known. And it always bothered me that it didn't do well in the box office. And I'm telling you, if they had Charlton Heston, I wouldn't say Gregory Peck, Charlton Heston in the lead in this, it would have been better known. I'm telling you. I think it was a mistake. Even though I think Eric does a great job in this film, I think that hurt the film, not having someone like Heston.
A question here for you, Gary. If they have gone with a better known actor, consider that in this movie the protagonist lost, everybody lose. Audiences, how could they take that, seeing an actor that is always been the winning protagonist losing? I think it would have hurt the box office even more.
And
Well,
famous actors probably wouldn't have gone for such a part anyway.
Heston, I think, might have, because he likes good science fiction, but he probably would have pushed them to leave the ending more ambiguous, that maybe they have a chance.
I mean,
not
Heston
give you an answer at all.
Heston didn't win in Planet of the Apes, did he?
Oh, but he lost before.
Very dark ending
before landing.
And then he dies in the second film. He's the one who sets off the nukes. Yeah. So let's see. I wanted to address something. At the end of the original Great Train Robbery, which is a silent film, right? Very short silent film. I think that, totally. That was the first film to break the fourth wall. It is. And I'm not sure if that's where the term came from, because I think that term actually comes from stage, that the audience is the fourth wall. And you would have some plays where actors address the audience. But I think it is the first movie to do that, because he shoots his pistols at the camera. And that's true. Yeah, you nailed it. Go in, Sasha Fred. Every supercomputer actually has a cat inside. It is, yes, it's because that falls right into the same category what I talked about earlier, that cats and computers would kill and eat you if they could. So there you go.
Is that why she was licking my arm this morning? Oh boy, I'm scared.
Yeah, she's testing you, going, she tastes good. Named after Colossus of Rhodes, a giant statue guarding the harbor.
Was the one of the original 7 wonders of the world.
Rhodos, yeah.
Does 2010-1984 measure? Okay, first of all, 2001: A Space Odyssey is a classic, but if you say, hey, Gary, for writing's sake and story structure, would you list 2001: A Space Odyssey as one of your favorite films of all time? No, I would not, because I think the story is just not even really there. It's a bunch of stuff that happens, but it's so visually captivating. And the science in it is so fucking good that I fucking put that on my top 20 list of favorite films of all time. But not because of the great writing. In fact, I always felt bad for Arthur C. Clarke being tamped down by Kubrick, because that's Kubrick's movie based on stuff by Arthur C. Clarke. And that's why I believe the book is better than the movie. Because
you're talking about 2001.
Stuff, yeah, I'm talking about the first film, 1968.
Oh. I thought for a second you were talking about 2010. It's really? Top 20 of all time?
No, 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I get it.
Lacks a very good story, but it's amazing to watch. It is just incredible to watch what's going on. There's so many things that I'm not even sure Kubrick knew exactly what he was doing. He had a great idea, and he went with it. He trusted his instincts. And it's a film that died in the theater, but got a second life because of stoners. Because people would drop LSD and go see the movie.
For that sequence
and word of
at
mouth.
the end.
And word of mouth spread. You got to see this movie high. You got to see this movie. And so people go see 2001: A Space Odyssey. And that's how it made some of its money. There was a lot of conflict created by it.
It made $168 million in the initial run.
It's during the initial run, but not the first weeks. It was the first week it was in trouble. And it's when word of mouth started spreading around from stoners. That
because Kubrick didn't let people go out of the theater so they don't ruin the experience. So it got a bad reputation, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
it's a weird thing.
I want to go back because I still have a point here to make. So 2010 is what I refer to as a really good attempt at adapting Arthur C. Clarke's novel 2010, An Odyssey 2. And by the way, you can say 2009, 2000 to 2009. It's 2009. But the minute you get to the 10th year, it becomes 2010, and you sound ridiculous when you say 2010. That is so fucking weird to hear people say that. It's like, it's frustrating. Anyway, 22 was a harmless, fun movie. I actually think it was good science fiction, too. They kept all the science in there and a lot of the plot and subplots that were in the novel. And it's a very good book. I enjoyed all of the Dr. Haywood Floyd books. They were all good. And I think 2001: A Space Odyssey is an outstanding novel. I think it's a better story than the movie. But as far as movies go, hard to compete with making something so visually captivating as 2001: A Space Odyssey, because it is what it is. And Kubrick was a master with the camera. And he's a bit of an asshole. You can't be a genius and not be.
I don't like 2001. There's 43 minutes that I like in 2001. That's it.
I like the whole ape scene. I like all the sci-fi elements of it. And it gets really monotonous until Hal goes insane and starts killing people. And that's when it really gets good.
Technically, he killed one people.
No, he killed the
tried
entire
to kill
crew.
the other.
The Frozen. He killed them.
The Frozen.
And he tried to kill Dave Bowman, but Dave Bowman's not having that shit.
Yep.
Keir Delay's like, fuck you, dude. I know how to turn you off, bitch. And he does. And it's a really emotional scene, hearing Hal lose his mind slowly as he begins singing Daisy. And his voice is going really low and slow. And then right when he dies, the video pops up that caused his schism.
Yeah.
And you find out exactly what it was that was sent from NASA to them, from Dr. Haywood Floyd. Keir is still alive, and I got to be honest, for his age, he looks fantastic. The guy is, I know he's a vegetarian. I don't know if he's a vegan, but he's a vegetarian, and I know that he is a lifelong practitioner of yoga religiously, and he lives that life. And they were shocked when they shot the movie 2010, and he was still young enough looking to play Dave Bowman again. And God, man, I like 2010. And Roy Scheider and Helen Mirren in that movie, come on. And the Russian stand-up comedian is really good in it. And fucking Lithgow, for God's sakes. And Bob Balaban, oh my God, what a great cast. I love Bob Balaban. I will go off on Balaban rants of what a good actor he is, because he is the actor who's still alive right now, who should take over the role as the CIA guy in The Old Man with Jeff Bridges, because the actor died. The real person died. And Balaban is perfect for that. He has that same look, same style of acting. And I've not heard anything about him being recast, because he was the villain. And you don't want to, I mean, the actor passed away, but you don't want to lose that villain. He's a great villain. I love the way that the way he finds a way to outwit the computer to give him privacy is for love play. I need privacy for love play. And so they create a fictitious sexual relationship between her and Dr. Forbin in this. And then you figure out pretty quickly, no, she's completely 100% into this.
The thing, though, is that one of the rules is they have to go in the bedroom completely naked. They have to undress where the cameras are still
they have to
on.
undress in front of the computer and not be able to take
That is-
anything in with them.
She pulled a Forbin to Forbin in the way that Forbin did it to Colossus. She wanted that to happen.
Oh, shit, nothing against it.
No. She wanted that.
Yeah.
She really was into him. And Tom Baker, you brought up something we talked a little bit earlier, another Dinar Kuntz story, which is a great film. And the book is better. If you've never read the book, read the book. The book is better in this case. It's not always the case. People go, the book is always better than, no, that's not true. I think that Demon Seed in particular was a better book, but Dean Koontz, that was his first big break as a writer. And I consider him a better writer of horror than Stephen King. And I consider Clive Barker the better horror writer over both of them. I think that guy is fucking nuts. I've read some of his stuff. I read one of his books that's not even a horror book, Weave World. It's a fantasy book, but with horror elements in it. And there's a single scene with these sisters, these witch sisters, that takes place in the third act of that book. And I couldn't get to sleep that night after reading that. I'm like, you put something in my brain I can't take out, and I'm gonna just have to make it through this night.
Is it Johnny she said?
Yeah, Johnny. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to take that down. Let's get to Demon Seed. We talked about that. Vince Womack says 2010 was a harmless, fun movie, unlike the book 2061. Yeah, I read all of them, Vince, just like you did. I read them. I was very disappointed with those as well. And Clark was really kind of at the tail end of his life when he wrote those. So, yep. All right. I've got all the starred comments. Read them all. I love The Shining. I want to get Emma to watch it. And the only way she's going to watch that is by being, hey, it's Charles Bronson in the back.
Yes.
Yeah, it's by being physically in the same room as you are. I do not want to watch that movie. I really don't.
I saw like I said, I saw the Demon Seed after I came back to America from Europe. But I read that book. It's a short novel. It's not a novella. It's a novel. I think it's 210 pages. And Demon Seed was a very good book. I need to look that up. And there's Marion Ross again, Mrs. C. Gorgeous lady. I need to go look. Seed novel.
I wish I could tell you, Tim. The process of getting that visa is ridiculous.
I'm trying to look right now.
Hey, Shinatsky's here.
Hi, Shen.
Yeah, they don't have anything there, so let me go to page count.
Wait, Shinatsky. There you go.
It's 300. No, wait. The novel Demon Seed by Dean Koontz was 211 pages. I said it was 210. So I was off by 1 page. So it's a short novel because I was able to read it in a flight and watch a movie. And the movie I watched on the flight, even though I would love to see it, was Airport 77. I actually watched that before going on the flight. And a huge mistake. Don't ever watch an airport movie before going on a flight. Terrible idea.
Oh.
I read the book Demon Seed on the plane, and then got to watch in the last hours of the flight Domino Principle with Gene Hackman. And I love that movie. I love that movie. It's a good film. Nice thriller. And that's the problem. Once it started setting up cameras everywhere, it was monitoring everything. And they thought they were getting away with shit, and they weren't. Now, the way they would write this film today is somebody would try to introduce a virus.
Careful what you're talking about.
I'm telling you, dude, the scariest thing about this is basically it was talking about a house run by Amazon before Amazon existed. It's like you walk in the house and you say hello to what's Amazon's computer name?
Alexa.
Alexa. Hello, Alexa. Turn on lights. Hello, Alexa.
Isn't Alexa
dim lights.
Google?
No, Alexa is Amazon. And Scott's house was set up with it. And you could actually ask it like, Alexa, set lights to 70%, and it would do it.
That's the only reason I would ever use that. So I don't have to get up to switch on and off the lights because
and TV.
You know, I don't have a TV.
Well, I would see use for it with a TV is what I'm saying, whether you watch it or not.
Well, yeah, for the TV, you have a remote. For the lights, you don't.
Well, I love the idea of being able to tell something to do something for me with my TV. Can you turn the volume down 20%? Can you switch channels? Are there
if
any
it gets as
movies
good
on?
as skip through sex scenes, then I would be on board with that.
Well, you can always say, Computer.
Yeah, right.
Hello,
Your penis mouse.
Computer. Oh,
Yeah,
look,
the
it's
way he-
Johnny 5.
When he picks up the mouse and goes, "Hello, computer," it's like, what are
It's
you
such a
doing?
goofy movie, but I love it to bits. I have so much
Use
fun watching that.
the keyboard.
Yeah. How quaint. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed
All right, buddy, get sleep.
because I
We'll
need
see
to
you later, man.
get up in less than 5 hours. But look,
See you
it's
Friday.
it's Johnny 5 when he's mad.
Yeah,
No, it's
Johnny
not.
5.
Right, boys and girls.
Good night,
If
Murph.
you want to, this Saturday it is 3 p.m. Eastern or 2 p.m. Central. Basically, an hour before Gary and the crew start their show. It's our 200th episode, 4-year anniversary. We're going to talk about Short Circuit. We're going to talk about Johnny 5 before he was named Johnny 5, because most of the movies named number 5.
Number 5 is a lot. Nice software, Stephanie.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, Stephanie, change color. Nice software. That movie got away with a ton of like sexual jokes, mostly, by the way, Fisher Stevens. He was the best thing about that movie.
Well, Fisher Stevens the
I-
best thing.
I-
in both.
I think she's a virgin, or she used to be.
Yeah.
What? Anyway, if you want to pop in, say hello, and enjoy us talk about it, just come over and hit the like button and all that stuff, right? So until then, I will try to be here on Friday, but I don't promise. All right? And I will try to watch whatever movie your guys are talking about. All right. See you
I haven't
later.
even
buddy.
checked yet.
See you, man.
Bye.
Right, Beth. Hey, we
What
have
are we doing on Friday?
Beckman's girl.
Hi, Venkman's girl.
Hey, Vickman's girl. Read by Nature is here too. What's up, buddy? And Shinatsky's here.
Yeah, I even pulled his banner.
Yeah, we had the banner of love. You didn't see that?
No, I was paying attention to what I was doing. Yeah, we do. We have the show set up, man. We're going to watch that movie. This is
Which one?
basically Sylvester Stallone's version of Beverly Hills Cop.
Thank
Which I've never
God.
seen, so that doesn't give me any information.
Well, you're going to see
Yes,
it.
you did.
Beverly Hills.
We made it. We made those shows with
No.
Tom.
You saw Beverly Hills Cop. It goes, stick no banana up my tailpipe.
Did not stick with me. So
Imagine that.
I can understand that.
chances are I didn't like it.
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, I hate that guy. He's not funny. So not funny.
What?
No.
How dare you?
I dare have my own opinion. I don't find Eddie Murphy funny.
Yeah, instead of
Yeah,
dancing, it's a dance macabre. That basically, instead of dancing, they're murdering. It's a music video.
Yeah, it's a covers a music video, and a really bad one at that. I hate that movie.
And we're talking about that?
Yeah, he did his own
Cobra.
rewrite of Beverly Hills Cop, and the studio said, I think we're going to part ways. And so he took his story with him, and he finished it and called it Cobra. You're the disease, I'm the cure. It's like,
So-
what are you, Arnold?
That is the
Delivering.
most cringiest movie Sly had made ever. Oh my!
The funny
God.
part is he's trying to deliver lines that Schwarzenegger could deliver. And Stallone could not deliver those kinds of lines. You're the disease, I'm the cure. And it's just like, Marion Ross again, so pretty.
I think he was trying to relive that moment in Rambo 2 when he says, "I am your worst nightmare."
Yeah, none of your fellow passengers are going to try to kill himself or the rest of you. Right. Yeah, and turned it into a comedy, which was box office gold. It made its money.
I just love the idea of a bunch of criminals doing a dance number with accents.
Yeah, Richard Donner. And apparently, during the making of that, Shatner is a prankster. Ooh, it's number 5 again. Shatner is a notorious prankster, like Mel Gibson. And they found a dummy, and they put his clothes on the dummy. And when Donner came onto the set, Shatner was up on the wing and let out a yell and threw the dummy down. At first, and it freaked Donner out.
Oh boy, that's bad. I don't think faking an accident is a good idea.
Well, everybody found it hilarious except for Donner. Donner was unamused. And then he would turn around and start working with Mel Gibson, who is probably one of the most voracious pranksters you'll ever meet. And he will find ways to fuck with you on a set. Yeah, Ali Sheedy. Ali Sheedy was one of my 80s crushes. If you can call it a crush, because I don't really have crushes. But she was one that I really dug her as an actor. But she's insane, like so many Hollywood people. She's opened her mouth publicly about things, and I'm just like, oh. I have to go watch another movie with you when you were young. And by the way, Eric Braeden is wall-eyed too. If you ever catch it.
A little, yes.
It's like his left eye, which is on the right side here, is in the right position, while the right eye on the left is slightly further away from his nose. It's like it's trying to escape his face or something. Yeah, Barbara Eden. Yeah.
I feel you, Tom Baker. I feel you.
Brando had some really good ideas that he pulled off in the film, but he really didn't doing that shit. Well, he pissed off a lot of executives.
Oh my God, Snorty. Brandon Stallone could have a mumble off.
Well, see, the thing with Stallone, with his mumbling, and he talked that way because the fact that when he was a baby, he had a stroke on one side of his face. It's a Bell's palsy, I think is what it's called, or something, and it inflicted the left side of his face, and so it led to him having that weird speech, the way he talks, and one side of his face. And so, what's so really odd about this is because the young actor from Heroes, who plays his son in
Milo Ventimiglia.
Yeah, he plays his son, has a very similar thing going on with the left side of his face. And it was something Stallone noticed. He said, "Are you doing that on purpose?" No, that's how I talk. And it's just like, oh God, you were born to play my son. And of course, sadly, his real son was dead at that point. Cynthia Gibbon, the sequel, was also not, and you can see her naked in Youngblood. Yeah, Anima doesn't know that I will go look that up. Don't tell her.
Yeah, it's not like she's here. Here's everything.
Don't tell her.
You're engaged, not dead. You can look at whatever you want.
But you cannot touch. You can look, but you cannot touch.
Oh yeah, well, we'll touch you.
Well,
With an electric collar.
I've told women in the past, I said, I'm pretty heterosexual. When you meet me, it's pretty obvious. Like a gay friend of mine says, how did he say that? It was pretty funny the way he phrased it. He says, "You know, your heterosexuality precedes you before you walk into a room," is what he said. I thought that was funny. Like my heterosexuality had an odor or something. But I said the single most heterosexual thing on me is my eyes, and you will see me noodling. Yeah, look over at someone like that's really nice. I'm not undressing them. I'm just appreciating everything. I do like the relationship between these two, and it's their relationship, by the way, that gives you the false hope.
Mm.
I believe that
You think
that is there for that reason, to give you a false sense of hope.
they
That
made you think that the plan is going to work.
we can do this. If we can trick him into believing we're in love with each other, even though we are falling in love with each other, that we can do this. We can outwit him. And he's been on to him the whole fucking time. I say
And
he
this
has been on to them.
and this is the proof that Forbin is a through and through nerd, because he hasn't caught up with the fact that she wants to jump him, and he doesn't notice.
Typical nerd. Typical nerd. Yeah, entirely pissed at Brando saying, as president of Gulf and Western, I'm telling you, kid, Brando will never appear in this motion picture. Yeah, and I got to tell you, man, I love that guy's story. I'm trying to remember his name. I brought him up so many times, and for some reason, it's escaping me. I'm going to look it up right quick so I don't. Yes, 1972. There we go. Go to IMDb, and it is the executive producer. Let me go look real quick. And he was the head of the studio. Wow. They don't even have his name listed. I don't believe this. Oh, good. Okay. I had to stop here because I forgot Robert Town was uncredited as a story editor on the script for Francis Ford Coppola and Mario Puzo. But I'm going to have to go look it up elsewhere because his name is not mentioned with that. Head of Paramount. So I remember they wrote a book about him called The Kid Stays in the Picture. There it is. I did not know he changed his name. His name was Robert J. Shapira, and he changed it to Robert Evans. But Robert Evans was the shit, man. And he was a very good executive, okay? Good at his job. He brought millions and so many awards to that studio, Paramount Studios. And they were constantly trying to fire him. And you look at the shit that Kathleen Kennedy has done and not gotten fired. She has just delivered nothing but tanks. And you know, the only film she did that was really good that I like to this day, and she hated, is Rogue One. Rogue One was a very good Star Wars film. I like it.
Yes, it is.
And I got to be honest, even though I'm not a fan of the series, I think Andor's really good writing. I think it's great acting. I just don't, it doesn't feel like Star Wars. Rogue One felt like Star Wars, despite the dark ending. Yeah, Robert Evans did Marathon Man. Yeah. I fucking love Robert Evans, dude. Oh, I can love him. And they were constantly, go back and look at that. Watch that mini series they did about the making of The Godfather. They were constantly ready to fire him at any second, looking for any excuse.
Man, I love how the speakers were built, giving it the shape of evil eyes.
Yeah, in the movie. Yeah. And again, every single computer in this movie is real. In spite of the objections, the inadequate tittle tattle, The Godfather one did get released. Yes, it did. And it did great, got them an Oscar. And it made a lot of money. And it led to one great sequel that I feel is found a way of being better than the first movie. And then the third film, which I wish they had never made. I got mad. I wasn't excited about the third film when Robert Duvall in an interview said that, yeah, Francis came to my house to talk to me. And all he wanted to do the whole time he was at my house was get my recipe for my traditional pasta sauce. That's all he wanted. Never talked to him about being in the movie. And when he said what he wanted to get paid for it, that he deserved to get paid, refused to pay it. And that's why he's not in the movie. And he got replaced. And I lost interest because Duvall, for me, as the consigliere, was my favorite part of both the first and second films. There is a back door. It's just there's no truth behind it being an innie.
So for you, Snorty,
I've got to go to the airport. You can let yourself out the back door. There's juice in the refrigerator.
The great clip. I love that one.
Yeah. One of the few good things I can say about that movie is it gave us a backdoor clip.
By the way, Martin, I watched the first 2 episodes of Duster, and I wasn't wanting to watch it because it's created and produced by J.J. Abrams. And I went in to watch it. I started watching it, and it takes place in the 70s. And the trailer looked really good. I watched the first 2 episodes, and despite J.J. Abrams, and I mean it's almost in spite of him, the show's worth watching. But there's some stuff in there. It's like they cannot write a black FBI character without showing her being dressed down by a fucking white guy and having it deal with race. They got to throw that in there. It's like you can't show things in a vague sense. You have to make it always literal, and that's why I don't like J.J. Abrams, because he makes everything literal, throws it in your face rather than allowing it to occur, and you kind of go, "Oh, that was kind of racist what just happened there." Instead of having it feel more organic and natural, he does what he does, and it's in there. It is in there. It's blatant, in your fucking face, stupid. But the actors do. It's called Duster. Duster.
Looking for it on IMDb.
And the best part of this show is the opening titles. The show is done, and I don't know if they did it with computer graphics or went traditional, but it is clear they're using Hot Wheels cars in the opening animation. And they even have one of the loop-de-loops in there in a chase scene in the opening titles. Fucking great. And that's George Stanford Brown again. What a great actor he is. I got to tell you, if you've never seen the series The Rookies, you missed something. It is a great series from the 70s. So much better than SWAT. And I love SWAT.
I loved SWAT until they got weird. That's when I stopped watching.
No. I'm talking about the original series.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen that.
Came out in the 70s when I was a kid. There's an episode of that sticks with me to this day where they were trying to find out or stop the spread of botulism because a shipment of food that was all infected ended up in all these stores, and they're trying to find all the stores to save people from being poisoned. And I was, how old was I? I think it was 9, maybe 10 when that came out. And I remember being terrified of botulism from that point forward. Like, what is botulism? My dad explained it to me, and I went, "Oh, I don't want that." That's evil. And thus began my phobic existence with germs, with that fucking episode of SWAT. 1975. So I was 11. These chess pieces look violent. They look weapons.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, those are like, what the fuck is he? Oh, I thought that was like he was in a kitchen. Yeah, the bug eyes on the speakers. Yeah, that looks crazy.
The situation is crazy, so it fits. I liked it when Colossus was scolding him for mixing another drink and telling him, you've had enough. And he's like, I know. And he proceeds to mix his drink.
Well, if you stop and think about it, Gambit, there's a little bit of truth. It's not about capitalism. It's about capitalism run amok. That's what The Godfather is about. Capitalism.
They
run
just
amok.
executed the scientists.
Yeah.
That was so fucked up.
This is the nighttime one, and then there's the daytime one that happens. Also, when you see this, does that not strike you as looking like code, the way the light comes through that curtain?
Yeah. It looks absolutely great.
Yeah, look, dude, I could not make it past the first scene with Francis Ford Coppola's daughter. The first scene with her, I was already checked out of that movie.
Is she that bad?
Andy Garcia could not save the scenes with her. And I love Andy Garcia.
Looks like Nick inherited all the talent then.
I still like The Godfather 3. I like the dynamic between Michael and his
It
nephew.
looks like code. I swear to God, look at that. It really looks like you're looking at code from far away in a negative form.
Like you see it in the Matrix, yeah.
Well, kind of like the Matrix, but I remember working in the dot matrix days on computers, and that's how a lot of code for things were written out like that, but then turned negative. I just think that's crazy. It can't be accidental. Winona was supposed to play, and then something happened. I think it was when she got arrested for
She what?
shoplifting.
Oh.
When Winona Ryder got busted for shoplifting. She has some problems upstairs.
Kleptomany.
Oh, that sucks.
That's what she did. She went into a clothing store in New York and got arrested. And she's a sweetheart. She really is. But she's absolutely batshit crazy. You know, she got some bats loose in the belfry, as they would say. Look, man, there's nothing more impressive than Haley Atwell's tits. I'm sorry. The only person I think comes close to competing with her is the girl from the mobile phone commercials. She's got some amazing records too.
Milana Ventro.
Yeah, her. Yep. And again, it looks like one of his eyes is trying to escape his face.
I want no part of this.
And God rest her soul, because I know she died from Beverly Hills 90210. She had one of those eyes that looked like it was trying to escape her face. It's like her right eye was like going, I want no part of this. Trying to go further away. But then she died of cancer. It's sad.
Who?
And I heard she was nothing but a bitch. Just a horrible person.
Oh,
but
yes.
you hear that from some of the actors that had a problem with her, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You're no fucking Sunday in the park with George. You know, you're kind of psychotic yourself. The little girl.
But everybody who ever
Who's
worked
the
with
boss?
her is horrible.
She's a mental problem too. And she was one of the main ones complaining about Shannon. Yeah, Shannon Doherty. Thank you.
Shannon Doherty.
But that was a joke about her for a long time, and it came from Family Guy. Like Shannon Doherty, and then it's like it shows her eye like trying to escape and jump off her face.
She lost her role in that witch series because she was such a bitch
Because
to work with.
of the complaints. That's what we heard. But then again, who are the people complaining about her?
The other
One
bitches.
of them is also a notorious fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Nut job. Frank Langella has that, what's it called again, honey? That bouncing eye disease? Something stigmatism.
No, hold on. No.
Nystigmatism.
Nystigmatism, yeah.
Yeah.
Nystagmus.
Gesundheit.
He and the actor that's playing the part of Jonathan Kent in the new Superman movie both have that condition where their eyes vibrate. And I went to see Dracula on the big screen, okay, with Frank Langella. And so you get a 2-story version of his face. You cannot miss the shaking eyes. And I'm like, what's up with his eyes? Even as a kid, I'm like, what the fuck is up with his eyes? And it's because of him that I learned what that condition's called. Because it was in the 90s, and I became a fan of the guy that's playing Jonathan Kent. And I noticed he has it too. He was in a little movie with Liv Tyler. I forget the name of it. He ran a restaurant that she worked at and a little cafe. And he was the cook and owner. And what's that? Hypertolerism?
No, it's nystagmus.
Yeah.
That's the word for it.
I've never
it can also be a
heard of
symptom when something is wrong with your inner ear. That's how I was able to calm down Heidi when her dog was doing it and she couldn't walk straight anymore. And Heidi was terrified because it looked like she had a stroke. But as soon as I saw
that is the best line in the movie. Right there,
problem.
Gambit. Best line in that movie, Dracula 77. When Laurence Olivier as Van Helsing pulls out a crucifix and Dracula screams at him, sacrilege, sacrilege, and then flees, turns into a wolf, and goes out the window. That's the best fucking line in the movie. There's Marion Ross again. God, she really was pretty. That's a matte painting, by the way, and it's very well done.
Yeah, but not like that. If you've ever seen that, that's not a normal eye moving thing.
Yeah, you can't help but notice it.
They can't focus, these people. That's why the dog couldn't walk in a straight line anymore. You just got
I'm going to pause it here because his cigar drops the minute he knows what's about to happen.
Yep. They're going to have a nuclear blast right in front of their ass.
Yeah, he knows, well, we're dead. That's it. We're dead. Yeah, he knows. He's
Run! Why?
And then he just sits there calmly, taking the cigar out of his mouth because he knows, what are you going to do? There's nowhere to run. And there he is, the mad scientist from The Thing from Another World, 1951. Did it come out in 79? Okay. I just remember it was big in 77 as a stage. That's what it is. It's because it was big on Broadway in New York and got made because of his popularity. The 79. I don't think the film's very good. They fuck up the story too much. They just fuck with it too much. And it annoyed me. Changing characters' names and stuff is really weird. Switching characters in and out. But Frank Langella was very good. And yes, he brought the sexy to Dracula, which is why they made the movie. I don't think Dracula should be sexy. I think he should be scary as fuck. I think that he should be beautiful to look at. Hence his ease at putting you at ease, so he can suck your blood.
Yeah, I did not like the new Dracula movie that much.
Which one?
The newest one, Nosferatu, where he drinks from the chest, not the
Well,
neck.
it's because they went completely off of what they based it off of the original ideas of the original Nosferatu, which was
they made it dark
the
as
parts
fuck.
that weren't related to Dracula. It's more of a demon story. He's a demon.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like it.
Or he became a demon. he was cursed. And you'll notice something else in this film, in many of the deliveries. It is heavy with stoicism between the men and women. All the main characters in the story that are in that room are stoic. They try not to show what they're feeling. And I like that because who wants to be around a bunch of people screaming like that guy that just got blown up? Nerd, the scientist, is the one who just very calmly takes a cigar out of his mouth and just says, well, that's it. I'm just going to think about some stuff before I die. Jack Palance is the guy who directed that for, and I don't think that was Hammer, but I do believe it was a British production, is the guy who created Dark Shadows. And I consider it one of my favorite Draculas. It's really good.
I believe it's Hammer. Let me check that out.
Was it Hammer?
I'm not sure. What year was that Dracula with Palance?
Dracula. Hold on. Jack Palance. All right. 1974. And it was directed by, written, by the way, the screenplay was by Richard Matheson, a great writer, prolific writer from Twilight Zone, Hitchcock, all that stuff. He also
the
wrote
father of
I Am Legend.
He's the father of Harrison Ford's ex-wife, right?
No relation. Actually, no relation at all. I used to wonder that way back, and then in an interview, she said, "No, we're not related. Just same last names." And I thought that was odd. Like, what are the odds of that? But okay. And but the director, and Nigel Davenport plays Van Helsing in that version of Dracula. It's really good. Simon Ward is in it. He plays Jonathan Harker.
No, it's not Hammer. It's Ladglen Ltd.
Yeah, I know it was a British company because it's a British company. Dan Curtis is the guy I couldn't think of. Dan Curtis is the guy who directed it and produced it. And he is best known for creating Dark Shadows, which I think is a much better show. I mean, I'm so ashamed that what's his name, Tim Burton, made that fucking abortion of a movie. God, it was terrible. Yeah, Dark Shadows movie with Johnny Depp was just fucking awful, and I don't consider that a tribute to the series at all. The mini series that Dan Curtis executively produced in the 90s was really good. It was the return of Dark Shadows, and this time they had a solid English actor that was, again, not very well known in America, but he'd been in a lot of British films. And I'm trying to think of his name. He played Spock's father in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. It's Sarek.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, what is this guy's name? It's fucking killing me. I can see it. What is it? Oh my God. Fuck it. I'm just gonna go look it up because his name's remembering his fucking name is killing me. Because it was in the 90s, right?
Don't know.
Let me go look it up. I'll just look it up. Get to the 66, 75, 68. It's usually at the end of it, they'll bring up other versions of something. 1991, Dark Shadows Revival series, 1991. Dan Curtis was a creator. Ben Cross, that's the actor. He played a very scary but romantic version of Barnabas Collins. Tim, I already was looking for it, so I didn't get to see your message. Yeah, it's Chariots of Fire. That's right. He was in that. He's in a lot of stuff. What's that one? It's takes place in India. English film, not Gandhi. It's before Gandhi. Pillars in the title somewhere. It's a mini series. He starred in that too. Ben Cross. Yeah, he died like 5 years ago. Barney Fife is a vampire. Yeah, I saw that artwork. Snort. It was fucking goofy. Nosferatu. Yeah, let me look up because that show. Because when I say new, because it was a very popular book too. Came out in the 80s. And by the way, he was also on the show Banshee. He was really good. He played the Russian gangster. Oh, another good one he was in back in '85, about the Assisi Underground. That was a really good one. There it is, the Far Pavilions. Huge book, and they turned it into a movie. And it had Amy Irving in it, Christopher Lee, Ben Cross, Omar Sharif, Saeed Jaffrey, good actor too. Let's see. Rossano Brazzi was in it. John Gielgud. Rupert Everett, back when he was young. Nobody knew who the hell he was in '84.
I don't know who he is today.
Rupert Everett, he almost became Bond. He would have been the first known gay actor to play Bond if he had been cast. And one of my favorite movies with him is called Cemetery Man. Have you seen that one, Martin?
What?
Cemetery Man.
No, I think I have it, but I haven't seen it.
1994, and it's basically he's like Ash, and he guards to make sure the dead don't escape the cemetery. That's his job, to keep them inside the cemetery, or it could lead to the apocalypse, the end of the world. Oh yeah, Rupert Everett, like every woman wanted him back when he was just coming up. And then one day it just sort of came out that he was gay. He just answered a question honestly. And next thing you know, he was off the market. And he wasn't getting big roles anymore. It hurt his career.
Yes, I have it, but with the original title. De la morte dell'amore.
Oh. Is it not an Italian produced film with English actors?
Probably. Yes, the director is Michele Soavi. The writer is Tiziano Sclavi and Gianni Romoli. Yeah.
Romoli. Yeah, Romoli. Yeah. It's like, I remember it being an Italian production with English actors, and it's a really weird but fucking awesome little film. And I say little because it was an independent film shot on a very small budget. That's the one I'm talking about. Reed. Where he just slipped. It was really just kind of being in the moment. And it came out during the interview. And it killed his fucking career.
Ouch.
Well, it all but killed it. Because, I mean, he's continued working, but his career was going up, and then it plateaued, and then it went down, and it leveled off very low. And he's a very good actor. But admitting he's gay back then was just career suicide.
Oh, you said a bad word.
Oh yeah, bad word. But it's a turn of phrase, so hopefully they didn't catch it because I used the first word first. Career self-deletion.
Yeah, it sucks that we have to do that, but
too late. Still, it is what it is. Fuck.
I told my team when we had the chief on and Chris the Colonel for Walking Tall, and they kept saying that, and I texted my team, we're doomed, we're so doomed, and his answer was short, welcome to my Tuesdays.
Yeah, it's
because
like
policemen don't fuck around with words. They're not pussies. They don't care.
And
they're not afraid
and
of
they
it.
have their work. They work around those words. What are you going to do?
Part of their
Yeah.
work. Same thing with me. It's hard for me to start because a lot of the calls I went on, guess what? There was self-delusion. Well, you could be in that kind of film and not be outed, because John Hurt was in a lot of those, and William Hurt too. William Hurt, Kiss of the Spider Woman, which I think is a great movie. Raul Julia and William Hurt. What a fucking movie!
YouTube's hates everything.
It's not just
I hate
YouTube.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. If you watch this show, YouTube hates you.
It's not just YouTube, it's the social media too. So many words are dangerous now because they might hurt somebody. Fucking snowflakes. Makes
Yeah,
me
you
so
can
angry
do
that
the
we've
phone.
come to that point. That is just sad.
Where you can go even more classical and say they shook off, or they had shaken off the mortal coil. Shaken off means they did it themselves, I would think. The amusing part of this, Tom, is that she's gay for men.
I don't care about her.
She's a man trapped in a woman's body.
I have heard that's a thing today, especially in Hollywood.
Yeah. That's a
I
thing.
identify
Don't make
as
fun of
fuck
that.
off.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Personally, I consider it like a hat on a hat. Just dumb. Another country, yeah, England, 1932. Actually, one of my favorite was a mini series based off of Quentin Crisp's novel or book, autobiographical book. It's not a novel, called The Naked Civil Servant, starring John Hurt as Quentin Crisp. And it's a very good mini series. Jane Bond is being commercialized. I still don't think that'll ever happen. I think that right now we have seen Amazon leaning into the right wave. And it's interesting, and maybe it's because of their acquisition of MGM, that maybe certain realizations came to them and they started firing people that were problematic for them. So that's kind of neat. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have no faith with Bond. First of all, I haven't liked Bond since really, a lot of people don't like it. I like the second film, Quantum of Solace, because it felt like the end of the first movie. That's all it was for me. It was just an extension of that movie. It gave us the full ending of Casino Royale. So I liked it. The rest of it, I couldn't stand. I couldn't stand the writing, the logic of what was the one where he goes back to the mansion that he grew up in?
No idea.
Skyfall.
That did the song.
Skyfall.
Yeah, Skyfall. Everybody fucking loved the writing on that. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding? All of that he did just to have a shootout in a courtroom. That was his end game. I went, that's fucking stupid.
I only like Casino Royale, so I don't care.
I love Casino Royale, and I'm going to stand there and I will fight. I will die on that fucking hill that I believe all Quantum of Solace is the final chapter of Casino Royale.
But to be
Because
honest,
he gets revenge for her, and that story
but-
arc is over.
But I didn't need to see that. The moment in when
You didn't need to, but that's what it is. And I
know.
just watched it for that reason. I'm like, I
Yeah,
like
but-
that. And I also like that is she Italian? I don't know what she is. South American that he works with in that as his Bond girl.
No, Russian. She's Russian.
She's
Olga
Russian.
Kurilenko.
Yeah, I think she's gorgeous. I thought she was good in the part. And people
Okay.
are like, yeah, but she's not your typical Bond girl. He's not putting the makeup on her. I said, he's still in love with fucking Green,
Vesper.
who died in the
Yeah.
Vespa.
He's in love with Vesper.
He's still in love with her. And he couldn't let her go until he killed that guy at the end of the movie or turned him over. He was going to kill him, then he didn't. And turned him over.
He killed him.
Did he kill him? It's been so long since I've seen it. I just know that was it. He could finally let go of Vespa. I love that. And then it was downhill from there. I have seen Ex Machina.
I like that movie.
Ex Machina is an interesting indie film. Great acting. It's a ship in a bottle kind of movie where a bulk of the film takes place in one closed area. And one main character trying to figure out if this AI robot has feelings or is psychotic and dangerous. And the fact is, it's psychotic and dangerous. That's the answer you get at the end. Saving him or not killing him instantly, he may still die because he's left there.
Oh, he will. He will die.
But there was that chance, because I discussed this in the writing, that there is the hope that somebody may show up before he dies. So I don't know. That is left in the air. They don't show him die for a reason, because they wanted it ambiguous. And but I don't think it just wasn't necessary to kill him. The necessity wasn't there, and so she didn't kill him. And that's the only reason he's not dead at the end of the movie, is because the necessity wasn't there. She is absolutely a fucking dangerous thing that just got unleashed onto the world.
Yeah.
Wait, what? It's just the only way I'd have taken a female Bond was to have Gillian Anderson a decade ago play a young version of Dinch's M as an agent. Yeah, and it's still not Bond. I mean, if you make a movie that's in the Bond universe and it's about a female, it's not Bond. And I don't see the need to do it. I think it's kind of fucking weird, because how does that fit into anything that Ian Fleming ever made, wrote? If you want to, and Keith and I have talked about this too at nauseum, about if you want to make an older Bond working with a female who is an agent, you go to the Gardner books that were written in the 80s. And that is the older Bond, and he is working with Felix Leiter's daughter, because Felix Leiter was medically retired from the CIA after he got his leg bit off by that shark. And his daughter becomes an operative and ends up working with Bond when he's older. And I really did. I liked Gardner's books, man. They're really good books. And Keith and I said they should do adapt a book for a mini series and do each one of the Gardner books and have Idris Elba as the older Bond, because he's at that perfect age. He's in his 50s. He's perfect to play older Bond. Not the skirt chasing Bond, but the older, I'm sick of this shit. I'm tired of, killing people. And I'm telling you, if you've never read the Gardner books, go pick one up. They're very good books. Because Keith and I don't always agree, but we agree on that. Gardner's books were really well done. One time, David Fincher was going to direct Rendezvous with Rama. Yeah, I remember when that got brought up. I thought, oh, that should be interesting. Never happened. Yeah, anytime you hear of something really ambitious is going to happen, like how many times have we heard they're going to make In the Mountains of Madness? Never going to happen. I don't believe it'll ever happen. I don't think it'll ever be made into a movie. It needs to be turned into a miniseries. I think it can work as a miniseries. You can get away with that kind of horror in a miniseries better than you can in a film because it'll probably tank as a movie. You mean Max? And that's where you can find Duster, by the way. It's on Max. And it's J.J. Abrams created, produced. He takes credit for creating it, but I somehow wonder if it's true because of the subject matter. Yes, Gambit, very well done books. I love John Gardner's Bond books. He brought Bond back. And unlike the cheekiness of the Ian Fleming books, his were more deadly serious. And I love that he took them more serious.
Reed, I am with you.
Colin was in a Bond film too. He played an agent with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, but he should have been Bond instead of Craig.
Do you remember the scene at the beginning of the film with Pierce when they have like a staged assault on MI6 and M gets taken hostage? Colin was the agent working with Bond in that. Bishop, thank you, Reed. That's the one. I don't think Bond should be another race, especially since he's based on actual people. I think that I'm pretty easy going on it when it's not too fucking blatant that they're doing it for race. But Idris Elba is somebody that I could easily have seen as Bond. You know, it's just like if they wanted to do a version of Jack Ryan and have Denzel playing, I would have been fine with that because Denzel can carry a story like that and be completely believable as Jack Ryan. That put Del Toro off from making Mountains of Madness. There are several things that, man, Del Toro is really good at ideas and not so great at execution. And he creates his own barriers. He killed his own Monsterverse from ever happening. But now he's finally making his version of Frankenstein. And I'm very much looking forward to this adaptation of Mary Shelley's novel. And the photos, behind the scenes photos, look great. But he creates and he, in my opinion, he hurt his own show when he went political on his Closet of Curiosity show that he did. Because I enjoyed them for the most part. I mean, he even adapted an H.P. Lovecraft short story. And it's one that's been adapted before on Night Gallery. And it's one of my favorites about an artist whose soul is consumed by demonic world. The more skeptical of race swaps in general, but Collins is my exception for Bond. I like him. He's a very good actor. I could see him easily playing a more prim and proper Bond, whereas Idris Elba looks like the guy that was, didn't mind getting into the wet works, as they call it. If you were an assassin, because that's all he is. He's not a spy. Stop calling him a spy. He's not a spy. He's an operative, but he is more specifically an assassin. His job is to weed out and kill, hence the 00. The Roger Moore read before I Live and Let Die was, to begin, a couple of Ian Fleming's books, and one of them had a description stating Bond had returned from a mission somewhere he had killed, but he detested killing people. He didn't grow to detest killing people until he was older. In the Gardner books, it's not that he detests killing. It's that he got tired of it. After a while, it wore on him.
Look at this.
Bond, Sanjay Bond. Sanjay Bond, hello. Hello, my name is James. No, it's not. Every time I get one, what was the last one, Anima? I told you the name of the guy when he called me back from the phone company. He returned my call. Anima, are you there? Seriously. So, yeah, it's because like one guy I had called in for not Mint. What was it? Oh no, it was the previous internet company we had, and the guy answered the phone, and he goes, "How may I help you? My name is Todd." And I went, "Your name is not Todd. It's more like Sanjay or VJ." I didn't say it to him, but I'm like, "Yeah, right. Fuck off with that. I'm not falling for that shit."
Shouldn't
Yeah,
be.
Bond. The people that basically castrated him, and this is why I don't like her. I feel that Barbara betrayed her father, and as well as Harry Saltzman. I think she absolutely betrayed them by turning Bond into what Daniel Craig was. Oh, I love Cormac McCarthy, Pat. My God, it's been a while since I saw you. Good to see you, man. God, it's been months. I've even messaged you and I never heard back from you. I was like, I hope he's okay. Good to see you, Pat. Good to see you. I paid the other half of the electric bill last night, and the guy said his name was Carl. Yeah, I know the fucking names they give you. You're like, you can't even say the name correctly, so clearly you're not. But Cormac McCarthy, yeah, good stuff. Well, he does. Certain writers have an investment in character that because their stories. Because McCarthy's like that, so is Elmore Leonard is like that. You look at one of my favorite westerns that Leonard wrote was the Paul Newman film where you don't find out his name until he's dead, and his name is John Russell, which is the name of the character in Vindicated. And but oddly, even though it's a nod to that character, he's actually named after a close friend of mine that I grew up with, John Russell. Yeah, you ought to pop on, dude. I'd love to hang out with you. We haven't talked. How long has it been since we talked to Pat? I mean, it's been months. I think it was last summer. So possibly almost a year since the last time we talked to him. It's good to see you, buddy. We miss you guys when you're not around. Yeah, John Russell is Paul Newman's name, and Hondo. Was that it? No, not Hondo. God damn it. Elmore Leonard Western films. He's involved with quite a few. He wrote just as much westerns as he wrote, thrillers, crime dramas and comedies. Because Get Shorty is great. It's one of my favorites. I love the book and I love the movie. And I have the book. It's sitting behind me. But he did that one, Hombre. That was it. Hombre with Paul Newman. And you don't know his fucking name until he's dead. And the guy says his name, or the girl, one of them says his name at the end. You don't even know his name. His name is John Russell. And he just gave his life to save everybody.
We should be wrapping up.
Yeah, gotta go. Zane, great. But I'm so happy to see Pat here. And we're going to wrap up right after he just showed up. Zane Grey, prolific Western writer. But Elmer Leonard, he was a prolific writer. And he would write crime thrillers, crime capers, and great at high art Westerns, as well as just getting down to the nitty gritty Westerns. He wrote Valdez, for God's sake, which got turned into a film with Burt Lancaster. So you've got some really good ones. I actually am friends with the niece of Johnstone, William Johnstone. And he wrote Westerns, best known for Westerns. But guess what? One of my favorite horror books ever written was written by William Johnstone. And I've already got a written agreement from her that if I ever want to write an adaptation for a screen or for a graphic novel, they already gave me the thumbs up. They can't take it away. There's no date on it. It just says, we give you permission to do this. We're not going to pay you to do it. But if you're willing to do this, you can do it. And the book was called Wolfsbane. And it's one of my favorite werewolf stories, and it deals with Satan living in a swamp, and when he talks, it makes bubbles. So the Vietnam vet that is his, he's the protagonist. The Vietnam vet nicknames the devil Bubbles, calls him Bubbles. So it's got a great sense of humor to the horror. Joe's stream starting. Okay, I'm going to get the hell out of here. Carl Crea wanted to. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, good stuff. And of course, my favorite before we go, my absolute favorite writer of crime. And I would love to say Jack Webb, because Jack Webb wrote probably one of the darkest books ever written about crime. And it was in the 50s. And it is the book that led to Dragnet. And, but my God. I'm trying to think of his name. Give me a second. I got Elmer Leonard stuck in my head. Holding my breath, making myself remember.
Dude, use Twitter.
James Ellroy.
Oh,
It just came to me. I could breathe again. The book, LA Confidential, Black Dahlia. I love the writing of James Ellroy. And just one of my favorites. But Jack Webb, by the way, Jack Webb was he single-handedly inspired James Ellroy to become a writer because of that book I just brought up. And that book is the book that led to Dragnet. So, and Dragnet, I think, could have been a great show. Like Adam 12, they had their good stuff, but they didn't want to show the gritty side of law enforcement. And that's why I can't call Dragnet and Adam 12 great police dramas. They're good. They're very good. Some of the best TV you had at the time. But they left the grit at the door. They wiped it off on the carpet or the rug outside the door before coming in to make it. And I think that was a mistake. He is very angry, but I understand him. I understand James Ellroy and his hatred for the movie LA Confidential. He would not talk negatively about it while the guy was alive. And when the guy died, he immediately shit all over that fucking movie. If you don't believe me, go read his comments about LA Confidential, the movie. It's funny as shit. And he is an angry man. And he's got some sexual problems, deviancies that just kind of weird me out when he's talking about stuff. Because I watched a round table with him and some other cop writers, police writers. And I'm just like, dude, you need therapy, my friend. You need serious therapy, because some of the shit that comes out of his mouth, I'm like, you're saying that out loud. It's not in your head anymore. You're saying it out loud, and that's freaky. So Colossus was a movie we talked about today. It was great having Mephisto here. I want to thank everybody for showing up for the show today. We always appreciate you guys. Gambit 87, Snorty, FK8C 2005, also known as Tim, Slasher Fred, Joe's Atmosphere, Eli Cortez, Penny, Sander Hammerschlag, Vince Womack, Tom Baker, Awesome One, the Peter Venkman fan site, and of course, thanks, Pat, for showing up. We've missed you. You've been gone for too long, dude. And I always worry about you. So I hope you get back in touch with me, because I'd love to hear from you every once in a while, see how you're doing. So everybody have a great day today. And with that, we're going to get the hell out of here. Bye, guys.
Bye.